The next day, as the sun rose, Xiao Yan had already completed all the arrangements. Once the resurrection was finished, he would return to the Earth Spirit Hall with the forces of the 10,000 Fires sect, heading straight for the Do-Di continent. He couldn't help but wonder if Mu Yingying would be successfully resurrected, and what the current conditions of Kai Lin and Xun'er were. At the top of the Spirit River of the Spirit Academy. Senior, how should we proceed? Xiao Yan stood on a cloud, speaking slowly. She herself is the sacred flame, but for some unknown reason, she began cultivating as a human. Moreover, the place she originally came from is guarded by a vassal race of our Xiao clan called the Heavenly Spirit Clan. Xiao Sansheng spoke indifferently, clearly familiar with these matters. Senior, how do you know so much? Xiao Yan asked, puzzled. Because these two sacred flames were deliberately stored by the powerful members of the Xiao clan, and the vassal race was specifically dispatched to guard them, awaiting the day when our people would come to collect them. Unfortunately, in the end, the Xiao clan was labeled as traitors by some ambitious people in the Great Thousand Worlds, leading to our downfall. That's why they suffered. Xiao Sansheng waved his hand helplessly, and a surge of killing intent spread when mentioning the ambitious individuals in the Great Thousand Worlds. But the Xiao clan is one of the most powerful forces in the Great Thousand Worlds. How could this happen? Xiao Yan said, confused. Indeed, the Xiao clan is a giant in the Great Thousand Worlds, something that countless people can only look up to. But it is precisely this immense power and authority that has fostered envy among many. Creatures in the Great Thousand Worlds have inherent strengths and weaknesses. Once a force grows powerful enough to be revered, many problems will arise. All it takes is one leader to shake the foundations of the Xiao clan. Xiao Sansheng explained. Senior, don't worry. Since this is a matter of our clan, I will do my best to help. Xiao Yan smiled at Xiao Sansheng. Your intent is enough. Once we resurrect this girl, I will take the remaining 9 Yama lords to some special locations. These places contain our true bodies, and only there can we fully awaken them. The 10 Yama lords were meant to be the last hope of the Xiao clan's revival. As for you, focus on your cultivation for now, Xiao Sansheng instructed. I will obey, senior. Xiao Yan replied. Good. As for the other matters, you will understand in time. But anyone who offends the Xiao clan will eventually pay with blood. The dignity of the Xiao clan is unquestionable. Xiao Sansheng said slowly. Let's go. I will take you to her birthplace, the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit. As soon as his words fell, Xiao Sansheng appeared in front of Xiao Yan, sweeping his hand, and a spatial passage quietly emerged. A spatial wormhole. A powerful method of long-distance teleportation, which can only be formed by a 7-star Do-Xian expert. Let's go. Xiao Yan muttered softly. With the power of Xiao Sansheng, they both directly entered the wormhole, heading toward the coordinates of the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit. Whoosh whoosh. In the dark void, countless black liquids wriggled like dark tendrils, sending a chill down their spines. Clearly, the so-called spatial wormhole wasn't as simple as it seemed. It was full of dangers. Rumble. In the dim light of the wormhole, cracks constantly emerged. These cracks even emitted a deadly pulling force. Anyone sucked into them would likely face countless dangers. Spatial wormholes allow for long-distance travel, but they are extremely unstable. Therefore, strange crises can emerge at any moment. Focus your mind on the coordinates I've given you. As Xiao Yan's mind was shaken, Xiao Sansheng's voice filled his head, and a sense of unease spread. Without time to think about anything else, he hurriedly said, Hurry. Boom. After a moment's hesitation, Xiao Yan leaped forward without a second thought, heading directly for the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit. The aura of the sacred flame. What a pity. However, rescuing the kings trapped in the demon prisons and the second great war of heaven and earth are about to begin. Humans, such insignificant creatures, they shouldn't occupy such a magnificent territory. Rustle. Just as Xiao Yan disappeared, the black liquid in the spatial wormhole began to tremble, forming into a clay figure. The figure radiated an evil aura powerful enough to defy heaven and earth, then slowly spoke. Crack. The sound echoed, but Xiao Yan, heading toward the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit, didn't notice the strange disturbance. Given the power of the clay figure, even a Do Xian expert would likely not survive without a reincarnation realm. At that moment, the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit was extraordinarily mysterious. Originally, the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit was an independent space, and it was also the resting place for Mu Yingying and Yin Qi. Unfortunately, during one of Yin Qi's breakthroughs beyond the holy abyss, the spatial coordinates of the holy abyss were leaked. This was detected by the Nether Blood Evil Clan, one of the extraterritorial evil tribes. As a result, the Nether Blood Evil King led his army to attack the holy abyss, attempting to seize the two sacred flames. In an instant, the once peaceful holy abyss was blood-washed. Even the Heavenly Spirit Clan, who had guarded this place for generations, was completely annihilated. However, the two sacred flames within the holy abyss mysteriously disappeared. Inside the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit, a figure cloaked in black energy, standing atop a dim building, spoke to a young man with a delicate appearance in front of him. King, with the Council of Kings imminent, should we abandon this place and return to the evil domain? Awaiting the council, the figure asked. The Nether Moon Guards, under the command of the Nether Moon Evil King, responded. The Council of Kings, It seems they can no longer hold back. After all, the power of the sacred flames and the top forces of the Great Thousand Worlds are growing. If we delay further, it would be extremely disadvantageous to us. The Council of Kings is likely to decide on the Second Heavenly War and the rescue of the Black, White, and Red Level Kings, the young man replied softly. It's a pity the two sacred flames here were lost. Otherwise, with their pure-hearted essence, we could suppress them for a century or even 1,000 years. That would give us a much stronger chance in the next war, the Nether Moon Evil King slowly said. Send orders to prepare the army. We will withdraw in a few days and return to the evil domain, the Nether Moon Evil King ordered coldly after a brief pause. They had stayed here for hundreds of years. From the few Do Xian level experts they once had, they now had dozens, thanks to the benefits of the Holy Abyss. Their long stay here had been to prevent the two sacred flames from returning. After all, this was the place of their origin. If the flames returned, they would be caught red-handed. Unfortunately, they had miscalculated. I don't know why, but lately, I felt uneasy. Probably the aftereffects of having slaughtered too many of the Heavenly Spirit Clan. The Nether Moon Evil King muttered, then lay back to rest in the elegant loft. Unbeknownst to him, a demon powerful enough to tear apart the entire Nether Moon Evil Clan was slowly approaching. Rebirth or destruction. Either fate was awaiting them. The holy abyss of the heavenly spirit had lost its former brilliance. The next day, it had become a peaceful coexistence zone for humans and magical beasts. However, with the extermination of the heavenly spirit clan, the entire region was now filled with an extreme, malevolent energy. The existence of the extraterritorial evil tribes had caused a corrupting influence, turning all the magical beasts into accomplices of the Nether Moon Evil Clan, transforming them into evil beasts, loyal servants of the Nether Moon Evil King. Evil beasts were no different from regular soul beasts, but they had lost their originally peaceful nature. They had become bloodthirsty, irritable, and acted as killing machines. Crack! A sound rang out, and Xiao Yan's figure slowly fell out of the space-time wormhole, formally stepping into the territory of the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit. SSSS? The air reeks of evil, Xiao Yan muttered as soon as he arrived. The area was shrouded in darkness, and an overwhelming stench filled the air. A faint amber-colored flame, the sacred flame, involuntarily erupted from Xiao Yan's body, easily dispersing and extinguishing the malevolent energy around him. What is this flame? Before Xiao Yan could investigate further, he suddenly noticed that the sacred flame crystals inside him, Fireheart Heavenly Rock, Ghost-Faced Soul Flame, and Undying Fire, had completely disappeared without a trace. At that moment, all that remained inside him was the sacred flame heart formed from Mu Yingying's original fire, and the lovesickness flame crystal that Xiao Yan had sealed and suppressed with special methods. What's going on? A wave of shock surged within Xiao Yan as the 3 sacred flame crystals vanished without a trace, which was a significant blow to him. Huh, what's this? In the next moment, as Xiao Yan stood there, confused, he felt a strange fluctuation in his Do Qi Si. There, he discovered an irregular crystalline object about the same size as the previous sacred flame crystals. It was amber-colored and resembled natural carved jade, transparent and glittering. A small puddle of amber-colored liquid was slowly flowing over its surface. This is... At that moment, Xiao Yan felt an overwhelming urge to cry out with joy. It worked. A newly born sacred flame, formed by the fusion of the previous flames. Finally, it succeeded. According to Xiao Yan's memory, this was the flame formed during his battle with Feng Hao. Unfortunately, he had not noticed it at the time. Zzz. Xiao Yan casually waved his hand, effortlessly controlling the amber-colored sacred flame crystal. It was remarkably easy to handle. Now, with this sacred flame, it's probably not inferior to the top 15 ranked sacred flames. Xiao Yan murmured to himself. Amber in color, Fireheart Rock, Ghost Flame. I'll call you Amber Rock Soul Flame from now on, Xiao Yan said after a moment, a satisfied smile appearing on his face. Now that his strength had reached the late stage of 5-star Do Xian, with the enhancement from the flame swallowing technique and the many methods at his disposal, unless facing a fully perfected 6-star Do Xian powerhouse, no one could harm him. This was the reward he gained after leaving the ghost realm. You brat, you're quite ruthless, Xiao Xinsheng laughed and scolded, noticing Xiao Yan's excited expression. This guy, always taking the unconventional path, was as unpredictable as some of the old-timers in the family. Heh, senior, let's go, Xiao Yan said with a satisfied grin, controlling the amber rock soul flame to cling to his body. Then, step by step, he headed toward the eerie forest. Now, within the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit, in the heavenly spirit mountain range, countless flowers, plants, and trees were wailing in agony. They were completely blackened and bound by waves of evil power, struggling to break free, their mournful cries filling the air. This place is filled with such evil fluctuations. There must be an extraterritorial evil clan here, Xiao Yan said, his voice tinged with caution. Based on my senses, the evil clan here should be the Nether Moon Evil Clan, the weakest among the 36 extraterritorial evil clans. Their ruler is probably only at the 1-star or 2-star Do Xian level, Xiao Xinsheng explained. Leave it to me, Xiao Yan nodded, gently touching his heart. Since entering this place, Mu Yingying's aura had become extremely restless, as though she had remembered something terrible. Don't worry, I'm here, Xiao Yan smiled, sensing Mu Yingying's tremors. As his words fell, Xiao Yan's body was engulfed in amber-colored flames, resembling a saint sent to purge the world of evil. He headed directly to the center of the mountain range. There lay the gathering place of the extraterritorial evil clan, and also the beginning of a massacre. Increase the alert level these next few days. We'll be leaving soon, so keep your spirits up. A dark, malevolent voice echoed throughout the endless mountains, even reaching the void above. Heh, Lord Nether Moon Guard. Why is the king returning now? This heavenly spirit mountain range is so suitable for us. If we leave now, I fear. Some patrolling black gas clusters heard the news and immediately transformed into blurry figures, respectfully addressing the source of the voice. Their strength was originally weak, and if it weren't for the mysterious heavenly spirit mountain range, they wouldn't have reached their current level. These things are not for you to know. Just do your job, the black-robed man in the sky said coldly, then turned to leave, but his eyes froze in strange surprise. This, human? The Nether Moon Guard's pupils constricted, his gaze locking onto the thin man standing at the peak of the dark sky. The man was surrounded by amber-colored flames, which danced slowly. Each flicker stirred up the evil energy within the Nether Moon Guard's body, making it churn violently, as though facing the apocalypse. A chilling feeling crept into the Nether Moon Guard's heart. Bring out your king, Xiao Yan said, looking down from above. With a casual glance, the patrolling guards, all at the Do D level, and even the Nether Moon Guards, who were only 1-star Do Xian, were no match for him. Xiao Yan couldn't even be bothered to move. This is bad, the Nether Moon Guard thought, just as he was about to make a move, when the evil power within his body suddenly froze uncontrollably. Boom, boom, boom. The Nether Moon Guard waved his hand, and dozens of patrolling figures turned into blood mist, shooting toward Xiao Yan. It seemed like the Nether Moon Guard was trying to use this method to escape. Too weak. With a flick of his hand, Xiao Yan's sleeve swept through the air, a powerful gust of wind destroying all the blood mist, trapping the Nether Moon Guard's body completely. Don't waste my patience. Forget it. I'll handle this myself. The next moment, Xiao Yan waved his hand, and the amber flames on his body dissipated. As he touched the body of the one-star Do Xian Nether Moon Guard, the guard immediately turned to dust, vanishing entirely. At this moment, the apocalypse had only just begun. The Heavenly Spirit Mountain Range, with its towering peaks, resembled a massive building rising from the mountains. In the center of the range stood a grand building, home to the Nether Moon Evil King and the core members. Other areas were occupied by patrols, mere cannon fodder. King, what's happening? Inside the building, under the starry night, two figures slowly appeared. The leader of the Nether Moon Guards, the perfected 2-star Do Xian, Mu Yingying, and the 3-star Do Xian level Nether Moon Evil King. I don't know, but there's a sense of unease today, the Nether Moon Evil King said, shaking his head. However, his gaze was filled with deep meaning as he stared at the silent starry sky, sensing that some danger was slowly approaching. Boom! In the next moment, before Mu Yingying could speak, the dim sky actually began to tremble. A wave of overwhelming force, as if from the will of the heavens, descended. The entire void shuddered with an unsettling tremor. King! Mu Yingying's brow furrowed tightly, his eyes filled with a fierce and murderous intent as he looked at the trembling void. At the top of the starry sky, a vague figure seemed to loom, as though it were the ruler of the heavens themselves. This guy, he's incredibly strong, and judging by the way he looks, it seems like he's coming for me. There's something familiar about the energy within him, the Nether Moon Evil King said. His luxurious clothes emitted strange black gleams, and without heeding Mu Yingying's warning, his body slowly trembled as he began to ascend into the sky. Who are you? Why did you intrude upon our territory? The Nether Moon Evil King had only risen a short distance when he looked at the figure emerging from the void and said softly. The aura and strength of this person were far beyond his own, which made the Nether Moon Evil King proceed with caution. After all, only their Nether Moon Evil clan was here. If they encountered a powerful opponent, they would likely be left to fend for themselves. Did you destroy the Heavenly Spirit clan? At this moment, Xiao Yan slightly tilted his gaze toward the handsome young man surrounded by black evil light. He spoke indifferently. Who exactly are you? Upon hearing this, the Nether Moon Evil King's body jolted. His pupils contracted tightly, and he exclaimed in disbelief. The destruction of the Heavenly Spirit clan was known only to a few of the most trusted members of the Nether Moon Evil clan. How could this mysterious figure know of it? All sorts of doubts troubled him, but the familiar energy fluctuations from Xiao Yan grew stronger and stronger. Ming. Xiao Yan smiled gracefully, and with a thought, he activated the origin technique of the ghost-faced soul flame. Since entering the Heavenly Spirit Mountain Range, the origin power of Mu Yingying had begun to shake. Waves of continuous information flooded into Xiao Yan's mind, making him understand why Mu Yingying was like this. The origin technique of the ghost-faced soul flame was a disguise. In an instant, Xiao Yan's body became ethereal, slowly transforming into a delicate figure. Mu Yingying. Impossible. Ethereal ice flame? If I had known, I should never have let you go. At this moment, as she looked at the illusion of Xiao Yan before her, with his long, azure hair cascading like a waterfall, the killing intent in her expression could no longer be concealed. Die! Not long after, Mu Yingying raised her palm. Amber-colored flames of the amber rock soul flame surrounded her delicate body and then shot toward the stunned Nether Moon Evil King. Sacred flame? Not good. The Nether Moon Evil King finally understood everything when he saw this scene. Without hesitation, the evil black gleams from his expensive clothes began to vibrate violently. Thick black smoke erupted in all directions. At this moment, the amber-colored sacred flame power was far stronger than the ethereal ice flame. The power was overwhelming, far surpassing even a powerful cultivator. If he were touched by it, he would likely be reduced to ashes in an instant. Die! As Mu Yingying clearly sensed the destructive force of her attack, she quickly shaped the amber-colored flame into a sharp blade and held it in her hand. In the blink of an eye, the amber-colored flame blade was released. Boom! At that moment, the starry sky trembled, and the many evil beasts within the heavenly spirit mountain range screamed in terror. Even the heavenly lake deep within the mountains sent out a faint roar. It seemed they were welcoming their master's return. No! As the amber-colored blade grew closer, the Nethermoon Evil King's pupils turned blood-red, and he howled in rage. He could sense the wave of death emanating from the blade. Creak! With a sound like a shooting star, the amber-colored blade pierced through the Nethermoon Evil King's body. His body was immediately engulfed in flames, and the amber-colored fire quickly consumed him. In the blink of an eye, he was reduced to dust, vanishing completely. At this moment, even the king of the Nethermoon Evil Clan, one of the weaker factions among the 36 clans of the extraterritorial Evil Clan, was completely slain by Xiao Yan. These guys are finished now too, Mu Yingying said, effortlessly wiping out the Nethermoon Evil King. She raised her hand again, her body slowly rising. The amber-colored flames became a dazzling light that illuminated the entire dark night. Ah! The Nethermoon Evil Clan, after all, was ranked at the bottom of the 36 extraterritorial evil clans. While they possessed many methods, the Nethermoon Evil King was only a 3-star Xian, and in Xiao Yan's hands, he had no chance of resisting. Yingying, let's go. It's time for the resurrection, Xiao Yan said. After eradicating these evil clans, the dark energy within the evil beast's body turned into black smoke, slowly rising before being completely extinguished by the amber-colored flame. For a moment, the area returned to its rare tranquility. The soul beasts, now restored to their normal state, quietly lay on the ground, their gazes fixed on the figure in the sky. They prayed devoutly. Does the heartbreak flame really have that mysterious effect? Xiao Yan asked as he walked, a hint of worry in his voice. Although the heartbreak flame had been devoured by the master of ferocious souls, the way it was consumed was too special, leaving no loss in its original power. Xiao Yan was simply concerned whether the resurrection would succeed. Though I don't know much about it, the key to reviving this girl lies in the heartbreak flame. As for other methods, I don't know much either. But with me here, we'll take it one step at a time, Xiao Zhensheng explained as they walked toward Tian Lake. With the numerous sacred flames and soul power within me, plus the 7 resurrection soul lamp, it should be fine. At this moment, the pink flames slowly danced in Xiao Yan's hands. His expression grew serious as he turned toward the depths of the heavenly spirit mountain range, the birthplace of the 2 sacred flames, heading toward Tian Lake. At this moment, countless beings within the heavenly spirit mountain range seemed to faintly sense Xiao Yan's intentions and prayed for him in silence. A solemn and devout atmosphere filled the air. Mu Yingying seemed to have been overwhelmed with joy, feeling delighted by Xiao Yan's annihilation of the Nethermoon Evil Clan. After wiping out the entire Nethermoon Evil Clan, Xiao Yan immediately pressed on toward their inner sanctum, the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit, Tian Lake, a peculiar void, existing in the vastness of nothingness. Its mysterious location was known to only a few, even among the strongest in the Great Thousand Worlds. Within the holy abyss of the heavenly spirit, there stood an enormous, boundless mountain range, Heavenly Spirit Mountain. Many soul beasts and humans coexisted within this mountain range. At the center of the Heavenly Spirit Mountain range lay an immense, boundless lake, known as Tian Lake. This lake was considered a forbidden area. The lake's center was sealed by a unique force. At the center of the sealed area stood 2 massive pillars of flame, slowly rising. On top of each pillar were glowing orbs. One was fiery red, the other a deep blue. As a result, the entire lake's waters were split into 2 distinct colors, half fiery red and half deep blue, dividing the lake in two. At this moment, a thin figure slowly stood above the surface of Tian Lake, gazing at the two massive ancient flame pillars. His eyes were filled with a complicated expression. So the Nether Moon Evil King never left this place because he intended to devour these two flame pillars. This is their birthplace. If these two orbs are completely consumed, it will have a devastating impact on them. Looking at the already damaged flame pillars in the center of Tian Lake, a surge of anger rose within Xiao Yan. Boom! As Xiao Yan's anger flared, the deep blue flames around him trembled, rising into the air and attempting to soothe his fiery emotions. Purify it, Xiao Yan murmured. Despite having wiped out the entire Nether Moon Evil clan, there was still a trace of black mist surrounding the pillars. The black mist continued to corrode and devour the pillars. If left unchecked, a powerful extraterritorial evil clan could be born again. Boom! As soon as Xiao Yan's voice fell, the deep blue flames erupted like fireworks, completely eliminating the evil black mist clinging to the pillars. Yingying. After doing all this, Xiao Yan held the pink sacred flame crystal in his hand, watching as the flame slowly flickered. The heartbreak flame stood tall on the sacred flame crystal. It seemed to sense something as it quietly lay down, gazing at the deep blue flame pillar. Yingying, I'm sorry it's taken so long, Xiao Yan smiled contentedly, and then slowly placed his palm over his chest. Thump! A loud sound echoed as Xiao Yan struck his own chest. A conspicuous blood hole appeared, and even his breath became unstable. Are you all right? For you, no matter the cost, it's worth it. Through the bloody hole, one could vaguely see a deep blue heart slowly beating, sending a comforting feeling through Xiao Yan with each pulse. At first, it may have only been a fondness, just friendship, but over time, Xiao Yan gradually realized the seriousness of the situation. He began to acknowledge Mu Yingying's feelings. Although Xiao Yan knew this was unfair to Xun'er and Kailin, as a man, he had to take responsibility. Zzz. He struck his chest, creating a bloody hole that avoided all vital areas. The purpose was to force out Mu Yingying's original power and merge it with the sacred flame crystal, the only hope for her revival. After all, Mu Yingying had sacrificed herself to directly become his heart. Even if it meant weakening his own source of power, even causing his strength to decline. What did that matter? If a person lives without emotions, without desires, without stubbornness, what difference is there from a walking corpse? If Mu Yingying's love for him, for all the things he had done, went unanswered, how was he different from a cold-blooded person? Hoo-hoo. After a moment, as beads of sweat appeared on Xiao Yan's forehead, the bloody hole began to release streaks of deep blue liquid, slowly gathering in front of him. This liquid was Mu Yingying's original flame, subtly taking the shape of Mu Yingying herself. Yingying. Xiao Yan gritted his teeth, fighting the excruciating pain as the original flame separated from his heart. His veins bulged, sweat poured from his forehead, but he muttered a faint smile. Mu Yingying had already become Xiao Yan's sacred flame heart. Now, separating her original power from his heart would not only harm him, but the unimaginable torture was something no ordinary person could bear. When more than half of the original flame had been extracted, Xiao Yan's heart trembled violently, as if Mu Yingying's subconscious knew that continuing would cause irreparable damage to Xiao Yan. So, she cut off the connection on her own. Sacred flame crystal. Xiao Yan roared, and the deep blue diamond-shaped crystal, which he had safely stored, slowly injected into the ethereal image of Mu Yingying before him. It must succeed. Xiao Yan gently closed the wound in his chest, and without thinking of anything else, he focused entirely on the changes before him. The first step of the resurrection, forcing out Mu Yingying's original power and using the sacred flame crystal to reconstruct her body. Next would be using the heartbreak flame to revive her. If the first step failed, the following actions would be pointless. Hoo-hoo. The ethereal image of Mu Yingying, drawn entirely from the deep blue liquid, began to solidify after the sacred flame crystal was injected, slowly becoming clearer. It worked. Watching Mu Yingying's form gradually regain a human body, Xiao Yan's pupils suddenly reddened, and tears welled up in his eyes. It was finally a success. The sacred flame heart had forced out the sacred flame's original power, and with the sacred flame crystal, Mu Yingying's body was truly being reshaped. The subsequent resurrection should be much easier. Senior. Reaching this point, Xiao Yan dared not act recklessly and hurriedly asked, "Inject the heartbreak flame into her body." However, the technique of merging the various sacred flames within you must also be injected into her mind, or else the two flames, when they clash, could destroy her entirely. She was transformed by the sacred flame into a human. Only then can she truly be reborn, said Xiao Xinsheng, floating above Xiao Yan, his voice carrying a deep sadness. Senior, is there anything else to consider? Xiao Yan couldn't help but ask. The heartbreak flame can revive her, but in doing so, you will lose both sacred flames. Because the power of the heartbreak flame, when used to revive a loved one, will be fully absorbed by her. Xiao Xinsheng shook his head weakly. Understood. Xiao Yan nodded slightly, his pupils once again filled with determination. His palm, holding the pink flame and the sacred flame crystal, was directed toward Mu Yingying, now surrounded by deep blue flames. At the same time, the training path of the flame mantra surged toward her in his mind. The flame mantra was indeed precious, and the two sacred flames held immense attraction for Xiao Yan, but compared to Mu Yingying, whoosh! At that moment, above Tian Lake, a vast stretch of water, Mu Yingying was surrounded by brilliant blue flames, and as Xiao Yan infused his pink flames, the entire lake, with its fiery red and deep blue waters, began to surge violently, as if cheering for something. Even in the distance, on the blue pillar of light, mysterious blue patterns slowly moved towards Mu Yingying, as if that power was the purest form of nourishment. This isn't enough, Xiao Xinsheng said as he watched the lovesickness flame stop in its tracks around Mu Yingying, completely blocked by the deep blue flames she emitted to protect herself. Mu Yingying was indeed a sacred flame, but hers was a sacred flame that had transcended the heavenly tribulation and transformed into a human. Essentially, she had become just like an ordinary person. Though her body had now been condensed, she still needed the lovesickness flame and the birth of a light pillar to truly revive. Lovesickness flame. Only the power of lovesickness can fully awaken its greatest power. As for how to awaken it, you'll have to figure that out yourself, Xiao Xinsheng said, glancing at Xiao Yan, whose face had turned pale. Even he, not knowing the secret, could only guide Xiao Yan this far. Understood. Xiao Yan's gaze softened as he slowly walked toward Mu Yingying. Yingying, the first time we met was during the points plunder competition. Back then, you were calm yet playful. Xiao Yan began to speak softly, gazing at the peaceful Mu Yingying, who looked like a porcelain doll, now asleep. He tried to recall all the moments he had shared with her. Joining the fragrance-burning pavilion, looking for the sacred flame, saving your brother. One familiar scene after another unfolded as Xiao Yan spoke. With every word, the pink and deep blue flames showed no resistance, but began to merge slowly. The once frozen and lifeless Mu Yingying, whose aura had been absent, began to show signs of life. Her cheeks grew slightly flushed, and her heartbeat and body temperature gradually rose. Even the two sacred flames inside her began to undergo subtle changes, their power soaring like an eagle flying across the sky. When she finally awakened, though she would not be as powerful as Xiao Yan, her strength would at least reach the level of a Do Xian. I hope this works, Xiao Xinsheng murmured from the side, watching as pink energy slowly entered Mu Yingying's body. That pink energy was not just the power of the lovesickness flame, but also the power of lovesickness itself. The most mysterious aspect of the lovesickness flame was this power of longing, a pain so deep it could torment the soul, yet within it lay immense power. Yingying. After several hours, seeing Mu Yingying's aura return to normal, as if she were an ordinary person again, Xiao Yan couldn't help but call her name, hoping to awaken her with his voice. Mu Yingying lay quietly with her eyes closed, showing no sign of movement. If Xiao Yan hadn't clearly heard her heartbeat, he would have thought the revival had failed. What is going on? Isn't this how the revival technique should work? Where did I go wrong? Xiao Yan looked at Mu Yingying, who remained motionless. His pupils suddenly turned blood red, and a wave of anguish filled his chest. Unable to hold back, he buried his head in his hands and sobbed. It was as if something important inside him had been lost, and the pain was unbearable. This shouldn't be happening. Xiao Sancheng was left dumbfounded by Xiao Yan's sudden outburst. He could only stand there, stunned. I can't revive her. After a moment, Xiao Yan's red pupils became hollow, and his body trembled violently. He spoke, his voice shaky, as a wave of unprecedented despair slowly spread through him. Even when facing the extraterritorial evil clan or the master of ferocious souls, knowing that certain death awaited him, Xiao Yan had never shown such a sense of defeat. But now, seeing Mu Yingying in this state, he was overwhelmed by an intense, crushing sense of failure. As Xiao Yan struggled, both physically and emotionally, Mu Yingying's previously still eyes and fingers suddenly moved slightly. Moments later, she began to tremble. Where is this? Mu Yingying slowly opened her eyes. The vast power and familiar aura gave her a sense of calm and joy. But what brought her even more happiness was the sight of the weary, despondent man in front of her. Just as Xiao Yan, exhausted and without strength, collapsed on the water's surface, a delicate, jade-like hand reached out to support him, lifting him up. I promised her I would revive her. I promised I would give her a grand wedding. Am I really useless? For a moment, even someone as strong as this powerhouse, who possessed numerous sacred flames, lost all dignity. Slowly, they murmured, their voice choked with emotion as tears streamed down like a waterfall. Clearly, the situation around them no longer had anything to do with them. Xiao Yan, thank you. The delicate hand that had embraced Xiao Yan didn't say much after hearing his words. Instead, it gently rested her forehead against his chest. A sense of softness surged, but Xiao Yan, with his divine powers scattered, was too consumed with his own turmoil to pay attention to anything else. What do we do now? Xiao Yan trembled, completely unaware of the figure holding him close. She was the one he had longed for day and night. You've done well? The two bodies embraced slowly, feeling the warmth from one another. Even the figure, noticing Xiao Yan's extreme unease and trembling body, smiled gently, trying to dispel his inner turmoil. After a blink, Xiao Yan was suddenly drawn to these strange movements. He noticed the softness in front of him, and his pupils contracted tightly. Thank you. Seeing Xiao Yan finally respond, Mu Yingying's dark eyes quietly fluttered, a smile blooming on her face. Yingying, staring at the living person in front of him, Xiao Yan's eyes filled with tears, and he hugged her tightly, unwilling to let go of even a single second. All right. A faint blush appeared on Mu Yingying's cheeks as she looked at the man before her, crying like a child. After a moment, sensing a strange movement in his body, she gave him no chance and, in a flash, summoned a blue and pink fiery light barrier that enveloped them both. She swiftly passed in front of Xiao Yan and launched an attack. In an instant, the two shared their mutual longing for each other. As for Xiao Sancheng, he chose to look away, remaining outside the light barrier. Meanwhile, countless creatures from the heavenly lake and the azure light pillars erupted with joyous energy. On this day, Mu Yingying was fully resurrected, ending Xiao Yan's greatest worry. Next, it was time to return to the Xuanling continent with the 10,000 fires set to find Xun'er and fulfill their century-old promise. Xiao Yan knew that the journey to the ghost realm had come to a perfect conclusion. What followed was the real beginning. Let's go, Lazybones. The next day, sunlight once again poured down from the crack in the holy abyss, and Mu Yingying's light voice spoke slowly, though a slight blush was evident on her cheeks. What's the hurry? Xiao Yan replied, slowly getting up. Clearly, the lingering scenery from yesterday had been simply exquisite. I want to take the two sacred flame pillars with me. Mu Yingying made a playful face at Xiao Yan and then spoke seriously. Take them. To protect this place, I'll seal them. It's a precious sight. Without protection, it'd be a pity. Xiao Yan smiled. Mu Yingying nodded and went off to collect the two light pillars. Let's go. A few hours later, the heavenly spirit abyss was completely sealed by Xiao Yan. Unless someone at the 7-star Dou level intervened, it would be nearly impossible to detect any damage. At this moment, Mu Yingying smiled warmly. By the way, am I the youngest? Just as they were about to move, Mu Yingying asked with a teasing tone. Cough cough. They're all very gentle, Xiao Yan said helplessly. If he explained this calmly to Xun'er, she would probably understand. Humph. Seeing Xiao Yan hesitate, Mu Yingying pouted, then stepped into the time wormhole, heading back to the ghost realm. As for Xiao Shang, he had already bid farewell to Xiao Yan in the morning. He took the remaining 9 Yama Kings to awaken their resting counterparts. For the time being, Xiao Yan was left alone. Whoosh! Xiao Yan and Mu Yingying slowly made their way toward the ghost realm. However, this time, no threats appeared in the time-space wormhole, so after a few days, they returned to the 10,000 Fires sect. Inside the core of the 10,000 Fires sect, in the conference room. Hee, this must be the sect master's wife, right? As soon as Mu Yingying arrived at the 10,000 Fires sect, Xiao Yan followed behind her and immediately noticed how differently the people there were looking at him. There was admiration and even reverent blessings, but no envy. After all, when Xiao Yan had gone to the heavenly spirit abyss, he had already mentioned Mu Yingying to many of the strong members of the sect. Moreover, with Xiao Yan constantly by her side, Mu Yingying's identity was easy to guess. These guys. Mu Yingying noticed this as well, but she said nothing. She simply walked gracefully into the conference room and sat down, exuding the poise of a noble lady. Sect leader Huar, how are things going? As soon as Xiao Yan entered the conference room, he first smiled at Mu Yingying before addressing the dozen or so people present. Hee, Lord Xiao Yan, our 10,000 Fires sect now has thousands of disciples, and their loyalty is like arrows toward a target. The number of 5-star Dou has surged to double digits, and there are quite a few 4-star Dou as well. Elder and a few of our senior members have also benefited from your teachings, Lord Xiao Yan, and have greatly increased their strength to 5-star Dou. Though I can't measure up to the master, I still provide considerable support, Hui said with a smile. There's no time to waste, let's go. It's time to head back. On the way back, remember not to cause any trouble. Let's keep things simple, Xiao Yan instructed. Ha, rest assured, Lord Xiao Yan. All of us at the 10,000 Fires sect are loyal. If any little brat disobeys orders, I'll peel his skin off. Hui replied confidently. Get ready. In 15 minutes, we will head towards the Spirit Academy's time-space wormhole and leave immediately for Xun'ling, Xiao Yan added, before taking Mu Yingying and making their way toward the academy. Xiao Yan knew that the ghost realm had come to an end, but there was still one final step left to complete, and it was the most important one. What's wrong? Mu Yingying noticed that Xiao Yan seemed lost in thought and quickly asked, Nothing, let's go. I want you to accompany me to meet someone. After taking a moment to breathe, Xiao Yan seemed to have made a decision. He took Mu Yingying's delicate hand and headed toward the Spirit Academy. Since there was no hope, it was better to completely smother it in the cradle. After all, the other 3 had already filled Xiao Yan's heart to the brim, leaving no room for anyone else. Meanwhile, in a rather quiet palace within the Spirit Academy, a man and a woman gradually appeared. The man strode forward confidently. It was the current head of the Spirit Academy, who was secretly assisting Xiao Yan and the others. The woman seated calmly in front of him was none other than Zhuang Qifei, who Xiao Yan was all too familiar with. Now the strongest among the master of ferocious souls, Zhuang Qifei. Queen, why put yourself through this? The head of the Spirit Academy couldn't help but murmur as he looked at Zhuang Qifei, who was deep in thought. Since the War of the Two Domains, Zhuang Qifei had announced the complete abolition of all orders from the Master of Ferocious Souls, along with her own position in the hierarchy. In no time, the Ferocious Soul domain had been governably organized. Subsequently, the various laws she crafted in collaboration with the 5 major academies had impeccably managed the domain, winning her countless ghostly admirers. I know he will come, Zhuang Qifei said softly, but he already has a wife and children. The head of the Spirit Academy couldn't help but interject, not out of intent to reveal, but because the holy flame heart on Xiao Yan had already been discerned by Zhuang Qifei. She had also learned about Xiao Yan's origin from the lower dimension and everything about the Xiao clan when she grasped the essence of reincarnation. I don't care. Zhuang Qifei replied dismissively. With a gentle push, the grand hall doors creaked open, and Xiao Yan, holding Mu Yingying's fair hand, slowly made his entrance. The hall was bare, featuring only an unfathomable circular space that was heavily surrounded. The time-space wormhole. Dean, Lord Domain Master, we're leaving, Xiao Yan said, having just arrived and looking at the tranquil Zhuang Qifei with a deep breath. Your wife seems quite impressive, Zhuang Qifei remarked, taking note of Xiao Yan's actions and feeling somewhat relieved, breaking into a smile. We will always be friends. The countless memories we've shared shall remain in my heart forever. If you need anything, just ask, Xiao Yan said after pondering for a long while, finally managing to express these words. Thank you. Let's go. Upon hearing this, Zhuang Qifei suddenly trembled, leaving behind a peal of laughter before vanishing. We should leave too. Feeling the firmness of Mu Yingying's grip on his hand, Xiao Yan did not linger. With a wave, several thousand members of the 10,000 Fires sect surged into the time-space wormhole like a dark tide of ants. In an instant, all the experts peacefully withdrew from the ghost realm, heading towards the Xunling continent. Sigh. I intended for this to be our last meeting, to sever all attachments and focus solely on reincarnation. But it's so difficult, Zhuang Qifei murmured to herself, left alone in the empty hall just as Xiao Yan's army completely vanished. Xiao Yan, no matter what, there will be more than just the Dragon Clan standing behind you. The soul-devouring domain and the monster realm will also stand with you. I, too, from the ferocious soul domain, will stand by your side. In this lifetime, I ask for nothing more than for us to be well. At this moment, Zhuang Qifei truly felt a sense of release. Apparently, what Xiao Yan did in the end severed all of her previous thoughts. Yet their relationship remained unbroken, like that of indestructible friends. This kind of relationship resulted in the later Second Heavenly War, where many reincarnators united against the extraterritorial evil clan, sowing the seeds of deep connections. Moreover, because of Xiao Yan, those who had a good relationship with him in the Earth Spirit Hall were promoted by Zhuang Qifei. Xiao Yan's influence in the ghost realm had indeed become substantial. Within the time-space wormhole, a grand scene of thousands of people was breathtaking. Dozens of time ships specifically designed to traverse the wormhole surged forward, and countless pairs of eyes were filled with yearning for the Xunling continent. At this moment, on the deck of the spaceship at the forefront, Xiao Yan, Mu Yingying, and a group of senior members from the 10,000 Fires sect stood firmly. This time, returning from the ghost realm and heading to the Xunling continent, without the help of the head of the Spirit Academy and her ability to use the space-time wormhole, it would probably take quite a bit of time, Xiao Yan said as he looked at the endless void around them. Since forcing out half of the original power from his sacred flame heart, Xiao Yan's aura had noticeably dropped to the mid-stage of the 5-star Dosian, though his origin remained unshaken. Because of this, Mu Yingying's original flame, now merged into half of his sacred flame heart, resulted in Xiao Yan's current flame being a fusion of 4 sacred flames, Amber Rock Soul Flame. These 4 flames coexisted within him: Fireheart Heavenly Rock, Ghost-Faced Soul Flame, Ethereal Ice Flame, and Undying Fire. As for the Heartbreak Flame, there was no response to Xiao Yan's intentions, as it seemed to have completely merged into Mu Yingying's body. Furthermore, due to Xiao Yan passing the flame mantra to her, Mu Yingying's strength had surprisingly reached the rare level of early 4-star Dosian. He, Lord Xiao Yan speaks truly. Fiery nodded slightly and said, the ghost realm is tens of thousands of miles away from the Do-D continent. Without the space-time wormhole's help, it would take a considerable amount of time. Now, with the wormhole, we will reach our destination in just a few dozen days. Fire Yun added with a gentle smile. Thank you, everyone. This time, when we return, I'll make sure not to neglect any of you, Xiao Yan said softly. As his words fell, the senior members continued discussing other matters related to the Xunling continent. Meanwhile, as the powerful figures embarked through the space-time wormhole towards the Xunling continent of the Do-D continent, strange events were unfolding on the Xunling continent itself. At the edge of the Xunling continent, a fortress stood tall, its solid walls and thick, towering ramparts making its defenses appear even more formidable. The Xin Mountain Fortress. This location, where the borders of the Xunling continent and other continents overlapped, boasted powerful guards, as it was the first line of defense for the vast empire of the Xunling continent. Its duty was to inspect suspicious individuals and protect the Xunling continent from any threats. It was the first line of defense. The Xin Mountain Fortress resembled a snake that curved for miles, with towering city walls over 100 meters high encircling it. At the center, a bustling city stood with numerous houses. Outside the fortress, thousands of shadowy figures, cloaked in dark, evil energy, were lined up. Demon Queen, one of the shadowy figures, spoke. We underestimated him in the demon-suppressing prison. Who would have thought that this Xiao Yan kid has such great abilities? And the light demon, due to his special status, has completely betrayed our extraterritorial evil clan. Now, in order to prevent our clan's secrets from being leaked, he is being hunted by our clan's king. His life uncertain, said the woman, dressed in red, but with her face hidden beneath a black hood. After a brief pause, she looked at the heavily guarded Xin Mountain Fortress and muttered, Demon Queen, since this is the order of the kings, let us act. A mere Xiao Yan dares to provoke our extraterritorial evil clan? Let the Xunling continent, connected to him, be utterly destroyed. Only by destroying the Xunling continent can we proceed with the next steps against the Dodi continent. The leader of the shadowy figures spoke again with a sinister smile. Remember, the high-ranking members of the fragrance-burning pavilion and the queen of the serpent people must be captured alive. They seem to have some connection with Xiao Yan, the demon queen added softly. As her words fell, her voice resonated like an ominous melody. The poison fiend demon queen. It turned out to be the poison fiend demon queen. Crash! In an instant, the sky above was suddenly engulfed by a fierce wave of toxic energy. Dense poisonous smoke slowly spread out, directly attacking the patrol soldiers stationed at the Xin Mountain Fortress. Third Team, 10th Squad, move out. Eradicate them. Dozens of shadowy figures, like specters, roared as they charged toward the towering walls of the fortress. They resembled murderous demons, leaving destruction in their wake. Inside the Xin Mountain Fortress, at the center of the city in the Lord's mansion. My lord, something bad has happened. At this moment, a fierce-looking man was sitting quietly in the hall, enjoying tea with several old friends, laughing and chatting. Suddenly, a guard rushed in with an urgent expression. At the Mystic Mountain Fortress, Wu Tianyu, a late-stage 2-star Docian, was both powerful and intelligent. He had been personally assigned by Queen Medusa to guard the fortress for decades, and never once had there been a mistake. Lord, I don't know where they came from, but a group of mysterious strong enemies is attacking our Mystic Mountain Fortress. There are only dozens of them, but their combat power is terrifying. 2 of our generals have already fallen. The guard said anxiously. What? Bring me my weapon. As soon as the words left his mouth, the man trembled and rushed outside. A pretty decent fortress, but it's blocking our progress. I don't like it, so let's destroy it. The poison fiend demon queen, dressed in red with a black hood covering her face, floated slowly above the fortress. Like a queen overlooking her domain, she muttered to herself. As she spoke, a rare green beam of light began to emerge from her palm. Thunderbolt Skyquake. Just as the poison fiend demon queen was about to deliver her devastating strike, a lightning-fast figure shot forward, carrying a silver thunderbolt spear, colliding with her attack. Boom! Boom! The thunder and the green light clashed, creating a brilliant display in the sky, and Wu Tianyu was forced back dozens of steps. Just a bunch of small fry. You handle them. We're leaving. Seeing the remarkable figure before her, the poison fiend demon queen shook her head and led her thousands of subordinates over the Mystic Mountain Fortress, heading towards the heart of the Xunling continent. Where do you think you're going? Wu Tianyu, seeing her attempt to escape, trembled with rage. He fired dozens of lightning bolts from his silver spear, roaring at her. To kill you is just wasting my time. As the lightning bolts touched the aura around the poison fiend demon queen, her figure disintegrated into dust. How is that possible? In that moment, Wu Tianyu realized the absolute difference in power between them, and he spoke in a deep voice.
Attack.
Activate the highest alert for Mystic Mountain Fortress. MOMO, take the secret passage to Heavenly Spirit Mountain. Make sure this news reaches the higher-ups of the Xuanling continent and Queen Medusa herself. Wu Tianyu laughed loudly. But, Lord, amid the chaos, a lean man hesitated. Get out of my way. Do these few dozen people really think they can destroy our Mystic Mountain Fortress? Dream on. In an instant, battle erupted everywhere. The poison fiend demon queen, meanwhile, led her thousands of subordinates straight for the Xuanling continent. However, even with only a few 3-star Docian and 1 4-star Docian, they could completely wipe out this fortress. We can't hold on. This time, we've truly failed Queen Medusa's trust. Inside the fortress, cries of despair filled the air. The combined forces of the fortress couldn't even shake a few dozen evildoers, whose strength was like that of death itself. Wherever they passed, the battlefield turned into a river of blood. Ha ha ha. Does the Mystic Mountain Fortress have any cowards? At this moment, Wu Tianyu, watching his subordinates fall one after another, his pupils narrowed, and a sense of determination surged within him. A moment later, his body swelled and transformed into a towering giant hundreds of feet tall, surrounded by lightning, his aura dominating the skies. Do form? Seeing this, the dozens of evil figures couldn't help but be astonished. Let me show you the spirit of Xuanling. With my soul, with my blood, I will ignite the Do form. Eradicate all. As Wu Tianyu unleashed his technique, the entire fortress fell into silence. Even the high-ranking officials behind him had their pupils glow red, their faces etched with pain. The Do form was a powerful technique that greatly boosted both defense and combat ability, but it was rarely cultivated. While the self-igniting Do form could temporarily grant enormous power, the aftereffects were irreversible. Although it wouldn't cost one's life, the damage to the soul was severe and irreparable. City Lord. Lord. Urgent voices filled the air. Clearly, Wu Tianyu's actions had earned the trust of countless people. He had proven himself as the true ruler of the Mystic Mountain Fortress. Truly righteous, but as a mere 2-star Docian, you have no chance against my 4-star Docian strength. At that moment, the overwhelming evil aura spread like a thick mist, easily wrapping around Wu Tianyu's body. It wouldn't be long before he was completely devoured, turning into a blood mist. Boom, boom, boom. Wu Tianyu's expression changed drastically, but there was no sign of retreat. Crack. The sound of bones breaking filled Wu Tianyu's body. His Do form and self-igniting techniques were easily shattered. Thud. A mouthful of blood surged from Wu Tianyu's mouth, and his breath became weak. Clearly, that last attack had caused serious damage to him. Is this the statue of that little bastard? Quite annoying. Let's destroy it together. After defeating Wu Tianyu, the leader of the evil figures glanced at him on the ground. His eyes shifted, and he noticed a rather delicate statue in front of the city lord's mansion. He spoke softly. That's Lord Xiao Yan's statue. We can't let them destroy it.
Attack.
Wu Tianyu roared, trying to drag his injured body to launch another assault. Since the fall of the Xuanling royal family, the Xuanling continent had been under the complete rule of Queen Medusa of the Serpent People. Under her reign, the continent had achieved unprecedented harmony and prosperity, with even humans and the Serpent People coexisting peacefully. Furthermore, Xiao Yan, her husband, had been openly acknowledged, and his status was admired and respected by countless people. Overestimating yourselves. With a casual wave, the evil figures were swept away like ants. The evil leader then aimed a fierce strike at Xiao Yan's statue, trying to shatter it. Huh. What's going on? The statue doesn't seem to be breaking? Someone is behind the statue. That's? The evil leader's deadly strike didn't destroy the statue. Instead, a rather thin figure emerged from behind it, gently holding the statue with both hands. It was as though, under this frail figure, the entire world had fallen silent and was bowing down. That figure. It looks like the person from the legend. Xiao Yan, someone muttered, and the entire Xian mountain fortress fell silent. Countless people's pupils contracted, trying to see if the figure behind the statue was truly the legendary person. This statue, it's well carved. I quite like it. Xiao Yan's hand rested on the exquisite statue as he spoke. Xiao Yan, how is that possible? Didn't the demon queen say you were completely erased by the master of ferocious souls? As they saw Xiao Yan's figure appear, dozens of evil figures couldn't help but tremble in shock. Xiao Yan had already eradicated several evil clans from beyond the domains and was on their kill list. Now, seeing him again, they felt utterly powerless. Xiao Yan gently adjusted his posture, then stepped over the statue, slowly walking towards Wu Tianyu. He extended a hand. Xiao Yan, my lord. Wu Tianyu was overwhelmed with emotion and burst into tears, unable to control his voice. He had originally lived in Xuanling City, and because of his exceptional talent, he was selected by Queen Medusa's guard team. After training, he became the strongest in the Xian Mountain Fortress. His respect for Xiao Yan and Queen Medusa was impossible to conceal. Take care of the wounded brothers. Rest for a bit. Xiao Yan smiled lightly, not paying any attention to the evil figure's gazes. My lord. This guy is a 4-star Docian. Please be careful. Wu Tianyu stashed his storage ring and stood dumbfounded, finally managing to say something after a long pause. Since when did the extraterritorial evil clans, who are like rats scurrying across the street, have the audacity to appear so blatantly in the human domain? Am I wrong? A mere respect-level powerhouse from the extraterritorial evil clans. With that, Xiao Yan began to walk toward the evil leader step by step. Humph. This is the end for your Xunling continent. It won't be long before you all fall into the apocalypse. Rustle. As his words fell, dozens of figures began to tremble. It seemed they were preparing to self-destruct. Sacred flame. Burn. In an instant, Xiao Yan's pupil sharpened, and the brilliant sacred flame erupted, immediately incinerating the dozens of figures into nothingness. Bang, bang, bang. Within moments, not a single one of them could escape, all reduced to ashes by Xiao Yan's sacred flame. Clear the battlefield and calm the citizens. I need to speak with the city lord about some matters. After completing these tasks, Xiao Yan said with ease, and then his figure disappeared once again.
Yes.
Wu Tianyu quickly agreed. However, he seemed to sense that, with the evil figures completely dealt with, a massive force of several thousand soldiers was slowly approaching the fortress. What was even more alarming was that the weakest of them,